So, Spencer,
What?
you been writing? We haven't
No.
spoken in person in what feels like years.
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
Like a week.
Yeah. But it was like at the end, it's like it was at the beginning of one week and at the end of this week.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I've been doing a lot of writing.
That's good.
I got a bunch of feedback so far from my beta readers on my story.
Yeah?
Some good, some not so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one I just got looked like it might be ripping it apart. I don't know. I didn't read through it all, but we'll see. The other person really liked it.
Like I said, I'm at the halfway point right now, and it seems pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'll have to go through the notes and see what's up.
Yeah, they might not be legitimate. And it depends, like, are they people you're actually just able to find, like, people online that,
It's just people on Twitter that volunteered.
Oh, cool.
Just interested in reading it, so I will check it out, and that'll be fun. Other than that, I went over one of Ashley's stories, so I had to give him a bunch of notes for that. So that took, like, not all yesterday. Whatever day I did that took, like, a couple hours to go through, because it's a long-ass story, like 10,000 words, so he didn't really need much. Like, it was just, like, kind of like what I do with you, just, like, mostly, like, some grammar stuff, and maybe a few wonky parts here or there, but then again, some of these beta readers, man. Like, this is a fucking list. I mean, goddamn.
Well, I mean, that's part of the game. And
Yeah.
You have to go through those and see which ones have merit and which ones, don't.
Problem is, I just want to be done writing the story,
Yeah, there's that. I mean, there's that old thing about, like, an artist's work is never actually done. It's just that you got to get it to the point to where you're comfortable with getting it out there.
Yeah.
Because the more you work on it, the higher chance you might end up fucking it up at, the more you do to it.
Yeah, you can overdo it, and it's just terrible. Oh, fuck.
Ooh, what the fuck was that?
Came from my guts.
I'm pretty sure that picked up. If that needs to be the opening. Just like that gutter, just...
There's the belch from the deepest depths of my soul. Yeah, but that's all I've been up to. I don't know about you, but nothing too eventful.
No, I've just been trying to focus on the not murder.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Hey there, folks. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, back in the flesh, Spencer, the Lithuanian Lobster Church. That ain't right. That's not what I wrote down.
No?
Let me check my notes. That doesn't even make sense. Like, what the fuck's a lobster? According to my notes, nope, that's something else. Oh, that's a little better. Not really. The Lithuanian Lobster Lover.
Oh.
I feel the Cairo crab something or other would have been better, but
yeah,
lobsters are... I don't know.
Like crab hoarder or something.
Who comes up with these things?
Mm.
Fucking goon. That guy's fired. I wish I could fire myself sometime.
You're fired.
Oh, man. Even though I'm sure some people might be sick of this topic, we have to go back for a third round. We covered it with Bill Maher and his awful take on comic culture and people being grown children. And then we didn't dedicate a whole episode to it, but we discussed Scorsese's Marvel being theme ride
and
movies.
those are kind of like two different things. Bill Maher was more of like the culture of comic book lovers or just pop genre people in general. This is more just on Scorsese's was just more on the movies themselves, nothing against the fans or anything like that.
But why I brought them both up is because Alan Moore, ties the knot. The great legendary wizard himself just stirred up he stirred up a real hornet's nest on the internet with this. But surprisingly,
did anybody give a shit really? Does
a lot of people agreed with him, actually.
I just can't imagine that many people are actually giving a fuck about what Alan Moore has to say about anything, really. Whoa.
Sorry, I accidentally clicked off the picture and clicked on a really weird picture I had saved. It threw me off. It's like, what is that?
Oh yeah,
it's like a Barbie doll making a stink face, and it says she looks like she farted in the box, and it finally hit her. All right. Well, I'll just start this episode off by reading what Mr. Alan Moore had to say about comics and comic culture and comic book movies. And
where he's made most of his money from.
Yeah, I guess who better to speak on the matter than the man who not only is a legend in the industry, but has a lot of his stories made into movies. So, I guess he has a toe in the game a little bit. But, oh man, this is deep.
Buckle in, folks.
Oh, how much of this did you skim over?
I'm going to be honest, I sped read through a lot, because, once I saw it, in the message that you showed me, and then once I, zoomed in to get into, it's, so much.
It's only one paragraph.
But, it's that Alan Moore of,
a whole page is a paragraph.
Yeah.
All right.
And just, the wordage and the way he says things is just, it's a chore.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck up some of these words, probably. And I'm not going to use a British accent. I'm just going to use my shitty American accent to read this. So, if Alan Moore, you're listening, I know you are. I'm sorry that my awful Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh style accent fucked up your verbose verbiage. Fucker. All right. This is what Alan Moore had to say on the topic of, I forget what he was asked. Just the comic movies in general, I guess. I think he was asked about Scorsese's opinion, but this is how he elaborated. I think the impact of superheroes on popular culture is both tremendously embarrassing and not a little worrying. While these characters were originally perfectly suited to stimulating the imaginations of their 12 or 13-year-old audience, today's franchise Ubermenschens, I don't know what the fuck that is, Superman, I guess, aimed at a supposedly adult audience, seem to be serving some kind of different function and fulfilling different needs. Primarily, mass-market superhero movies seem to be abetting an audience who do not wish to relinquish their grip on A, their relatively reassuring childhoods, or B, the relatively reassuring 20th century. That's an interesting one I want to get into. The continuing popularity of these movies to me suggests some kind of deliberate, self-imposed state of emotional arrest, combined with a numbing condition of cultural stasis that can be witnessed in comics, movies, popular music, and, indeed, right across the cultural spectrum, the superheroes themselves, largely written and drawn by creators who have never stood up for their own rights against the companies that employ them, much less the rights of a Jack Kirby or Jerry Siegel or Joe Shuster, would seem to be largely employed as cowardice compensators, perhaps a bit like the handgun on the nightstand. I would also remark that, save for a smattering of non-white characters and non-white creators, these books and these iconic characters are still very much white supremacist dreams of the master race. In fact, I think that a good argument could be made for D.W. Griffin's Birth of a Nation as the first American superhero movie and the point of origin for all those capes and masks. Whew. That is,
that's a lot to unpack.
He pretty much just shit on every part of it, including the original creators, kind of calling them cowards.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't stand up for their rights, I guess. But, those guys had a job to do, and if they didn't do it, then they're just fired. They get somebody else to replace them.
Well, that's even like that now.
Yeah.
It's work for hire.
Not everyone is an Alan Moore or a Frank Miller or a Neil Gaiman. Not everybody is able to just create how they want with impunity for...
And even though those, most of those guys, their big things are from other... property are owned from a company, like Frank Miller's Daredevil, that was around before Daredevil was around before Frank Miller. It's around
Alan
after
Moore. Didn't he do Swamp Thing?
Yeah,
they didn't. These guys didn't start off with their own original creations. They started with something else, and then they worked their way up to whatever they, like Frank Miller, for instance, with Sin City. Let's see where. How about we just go right from the beginning here?
Yeah.
Which I found odd for the guy who created Watchmen, which is very adult themed, says that comics, which were originally for 12 or 13-year-old audiences, he kind of pigeonholes it as that's what they should be for.
Yeah,
almost the Bill Maher bullshit that it's for kids.
It can't there can't be adult comics, even though that he
created some of the greatest adult comics ever. What are you talking about, guy?
If anybody knows the wide branch of audience that the medium can pull in, you'd think it would be that guy.
Yeah. See, I don't know. That's a little murky here because he says originally perfectly suited for stimulating the imaginations of 12 and 13-year-olds. So I guess he's not necessarily saying those were for kids only, but he's saying they were aimed at kids versus now he's saying that they're aimed at adults, but like adults who can't outlive their childhood or outgrow their childhood. And again, I mean, that goes into the whole debate we had before about escapism.
Yeah.
And when is it a little too much? When maybe you should pull it back and you should kind of face your problems in life versus I just want to go see a fun movie.
Yeah. And I mean, like, especially like the Marvel movies, they just kind of replaced like the action movie.
Like, how are Marvel movies really different from old-timey westerns from the, like the spaghetti westerns of the 60s? They're all just fun movies.
Or even like
detective movies.
Or like Die Hard or any of the Sylvester Stallone movies, like that kind of stuff. It's just they're amped up now because, just the kind of the setting of the story, but they're all basically the same thing.
Every generation's had their escapism movies. The 80s, it was the shitty kind of action, the Stallone and fucking Terminator type movies. Like, it's all escapism. Not everything is The Godfather. Not everything is, Goodfellas or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Not everything is, like, fine cinema, and that's fine. Sometimes you don't want a message in your movie necessarily. You just want to have fun.
And we've mentioned this before in other episodes, but, like, there's only so many stories.
Yeah.
There's only so many stories you can tell. So you just gotta spice it up a little bit, throw a guy flying around in a mech suit blowing things up. Yeah,
I mean, I get it, especially since Disney Plus just came out. I really am getting kind of irritated with the whole nostalgia bomb, where everyone is just like, oh, Rugrats, or whatever the fuck it is, Disney Channel.
Gargoyles.
Yeah, Gargoyles. X-Men and all that stuff. It's fun. And I don't mind. Look, fucking goddamn Apache helicopter's back.
It's Charlie.
Oh no! When you just play an overview, just oh no! Like just screams. We'll let that pass. So anyway, I got my fucking. I don't want to say a bad word, but my member. I got it stuck.
Yeah.
Guess what? I got stuck. Oh wait, helicopter's gone. Okay. The second part of this, after the whole... no, I want to go back to the nostalgia thing just more. I agree to a degree. I just want to say it like this. I agree to a degree.
You're trying to be witty there. So.
I just feel that the nostalgia is a little overplayed, obviously, with all the reboots and shit. But everybody complains about the reboots. They'd stop making fucking reboots and people would stop going to see them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And then with all the... like the Disney Plus and stuff, bringing back all your shows from your childhood. Yeah, it's fun to kind of relive or have, I'm going to have an old Nickelodeon night or something. That's fun every once in a while. But you definitely shouldn't be stuck in there. And like what he's saying is people are just unwilling to let go of their childhoods in a way that it's probably stunting their present day selves. And I can kind of see that because I know a lot of people that's all they talk about. It's like it goes back to the Al Bundy glory days of high school.
Yeah.
The football. The greatest quarterback in whatever school he was at. And it's like, you talk about your glory days, but you're still alive. You can have more glory days. You're still doing stuff.
Especially when none of the glory days weren't that glorious.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, some things suck now, but, I mean, why can't you just keep the ball rolling? Like, you enjoyed things when you were young. Why is it that you're so focused on those same things? Like, come up with some new shit. Find new things you enjoy. I mean, I do that all the time. But some people are stuck. But I don't think it's to the degree that he's saying. Or like Bill Maher, where it's everybody that sees Marvel movies is stuck in their childhood and just want to be little kids again. Yeah. No, you just, like, for a couple hours, you escape.
And it's good. It's like, and it's a good thing to have for the people who, like, who have children who can, like, hey, kid, my person that came out of me, this is the stuff that I watched. This is what I was into whenever I was your age. Now I can enjoy that with you too for a little bit.
Which is what humans have been doing since the beginning of history. fathers used to take their sons fishing or camping, or they would do Boy Scouts and not do Boy Scouts.
Well, I mean,
kind of. I mean, you get in trouble a lot, but take them to Boy Scouts and stuff because that's what they did when they were a kid. The model car building and shit. Yeah. It's just evolved because technology has evolved. That's all. Because what I did when I was a kid isn't going to be the same what kids have now.
Well, I mean, and like how many times has Kevin Smith said he got his love of movies from his dad, who would take him out of school and see random matinees of things that he shouldn't probably be seeing. But it's hey, don't tell your mother. But and if it wasn't for that, who knows if we
would have went that way?
Yeah,
I just
and it's as long as you're paying your bills, going to work, being a productive person of society, who am I to give you shit if you go and spend 5 hours at home watching Rugrats reruns, as long as you're doing the things that, taking care of your family and that kind of stuff. Well, who am I to get on you for that?
Well, I want to shit on a certain fan base in a second, but before I do that, what about people that play Magic the Gathering as adults? Are they childish because they enjoy board games or something? I mean, what about people that play video games?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't outlive your childhood because you're constantly playing video games, even though you can make millions of dollars doing that. Now it's a legitimate job. And
who'd have thunk?
Here's the fan base I want to shit on. Sports fans.
Yeah.
It's the fucking same thing. Are we shitting on sports fans? For Alan Moore, it'd be fucking football or cricket or some dumb shit. Not American football, soccer. But you... well, he's into wizarding, so you're a wizard, dude. You're a fucking kid. You're a grown man thinking you're a wizard. Come on.
Oh, trust me, as a guy who is both an avid comic book lover...
And a wizard.
And a wizard. But who also, spent 3 hours with 11 other grown men, most of them that I've known since high school, and picked a fancy white roster of a football team, trying to who's gonna do good this year? Who's
That's just as nerdy as anything else. And again... Most of us that like sports, we got that from our dads or our family or
siblings,
brothers or something like that. So to say something's childish and something else isn't that's a little ridiculous because when you look at it, it's all entertainment. It's all the same things. But what I also want to focus on is the second part of that statement where he says, they don't want to relinquish their grip on their childhoods, but they also don't want to relinquish their grip on the 20th century. That's an interesting one because obviously we're at a impasse that a lot of people in history, only certain groups of history go to the next millennium or fucking whatever it is. It is hard to, I guess, I don't know, you can't say it's hard, you don't know any different, but to go to another century and then you look back on the past, is it really that different than if you were just born in the 60s or something and you got to the 90s? I don't really understand that point. Is he saying that... I understand, 90s nostalgia or 80s nostalgia, if he was just talking about that, but he's talking about the whole century, the 20th century. We're not sitting here fucking reminiscing about Prohibition or the Great Depression or World War I.
Cars you have to crank to get going.
Yeah. What about fucking, war porn, World War II movies or World War I movies that are popular every year, even though... World War I is over 100 years ago now.
Yeah.
And World War II was what? About an 80 or going on 90 years ago? Yeah, 40, so it's almost fucking 90 years ago.
Yeah.
I just, I at that point, it doesn't hit with me too much as the other one. Oh, the creators thing. We kind of already touched on that, but I didn't really understand why he talks about the creators being cowardices. Is he saying we're cowardly, though, and that's why we envy these superheroes that can do things we can't?
Maybe. And I think this kind of goes for this whole statement. I think Alan Moore is basically just talking shit because, there's always those stories, he didn't collect his check from the Watchmen movie, or anytime DC tries to put out a new printing, and and all this stuff. Every time they make one of his stories into a movie, he doesn't take the paycheck and stuff like that. So I think I kind of have a feeling he is, because he doesn't do that, and then other people will do that or don't have so confrontational about that kind of stuff that he's trying to shit on them because they didn't do what he did or how he does his thing.
I think this is about modern creators too, because I misread that. Well, I didn't misread it. I just misspoke. He said, largely written and drawn by creators who have never stood up for their own rights against companies that employ them, much less the rights of Jack Kirby, Siegel, and Schuster.
Who, anybody working in any job stands up to the company that they work for?
You get shit canned.
Yeah, like you have to take a certain amount of shit.
The only recent thing that kind of made me a little bit happy was when the whole staff of Deadspin, because a company came in and like some fucking lawyers or something came and bought Deadspin, which I don't know if you ever read Deadspin articles. It was like a sports site, but they also write about other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was they wanted to get politics out of the writing or social justice stuff or whatever it was, but the new owners didn't want them. They just wanted to write like formulaic, and the whole staff, editors, everybody just fucking walked out and quit at once.
Nice.
Done. Company's over. That's what we need more of when it comes to that shit. So but can you see like, you know, everybody that working for Marvel Comics be like, you know what, we're fucking done. You guys are treating us like shit, all the writers and stuff. We're done. No, because more guys will just
they're just by other people. You know, they're
Spencer
just
Caleb, move on up.
Yeah, yes. Please, guys, stand up for your morals so I can get a job. I would really appreciate it.
This next point
what
is...
fucked up thing am I going to have Spider-Man do this week?
This next point is a little... well, before I get to that, we'll go to the non-white characters and non-white creators. That ties into the next point, but...
That's just beating a dead horse at this point.
I mean, obviously, everyone... And it's starting to change now, but obviously that's been a problem throughout the history of comics, has been lack of diversity. But at the same time, it was just like, you know, white dudes writing and creating them, and that's just what the industry standard was. But now that the genre has finally exploded to mass audiences, we are getting...
And that's with everything. I mean, that's with movies, that's with novels, or writing on television, or acting. Like, therefore, there was a certain standard, no matter how if right or wrong it was. And then as the time moves on, you know, like, oh, wait, women can do this. People of different colors and races can do this. It takes a while to get there. I mean, it sucks that it took that long to get here, but I think because that also shows how much that he hasn't, like, when was it? I want to know the last time Alan Moore even, like, read a comic.
I would really like to know that as well.
Especially from, like, the big two from Marvel or DC. Because there's a lot of women writers now. There's a lot of different ethnicities, you know, writing and drawing and, you know, doing different work on the books and stuff like that.
Well, does he have contempt for your Neil Gaimans and Frank Millers because they're closer to his era, but they're white males?
Yeah.
I mean, does he talk shit about Todd McFarlane? What about, like, more modern writers, like a Brian Wood or Brian K. Vaughan? Does he shit on them because they're white dudes? I mean...
I feel like Alan Moore just shits on everybody. No matter what.
He's just a grumpy old dude,
no matter what.
No.
And I don't know why, because, like I said, like, whenever, anytime, like, his stuff gets made into stuff and he gets offered a check and stuff and he turns it down, so it's not like any, like, at least from what I've known, that anybody, like, tried to screw him out of anything. It's just, like, he thinks that his work is so good that they can never
match it or anything.
In any of the medium, and then he did it in.
That seems really pretentious. I would take the fucking check. They're making it anyway.
Yeah, right?
You stupid idiot. This last point, I don't know how you can really agree with it. He says that he thinks that a good argument can be made for D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation as the first American superhero movie. That's the origin of all capes and mask movies. And
see, I don't know.
Birth of a Nation is like the famous KKK movie.
Oh.
It's like a Ku Klux Klan movie. And it's about... I never seen it, obviously, but it's about... Most people probably haven't seen that shitty movie. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was a KKK movie, and it was about, like, white supremacy and the white race being the master race or some shit like that. But what is that? How is that the first superheroes? Because they dressed up in hoods and things and thought they were genetically superior to others? That still doesn't mean they were superheroes.
Well, when did the KKK start?
1800s, probably.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Let me look up Birth of the Nation real quick, because I'm not well versed in that movie. Didn't they make a new Birth of the Nation that was like a... That came out in 1915. Yeah, they did. 2016, they made a Birth of the Nation movie. I thought so. If there was controversy around that, but I don't think it was like the KKK shit. I think it was something else. Really? Birth of a Nation got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
He got a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Two families, abolitionist Northerners, the stonemasons, and Southern landowners, the Camerons, intertwine in director D.W. Griffin's controversial Civil War epic. No, it's a Civil War movie. But I'm pretty sure it was very pro-white people. That was the issue.
I think everything back then, I'm sure, was very pro-white people.
It made $100 million at the box office. That's crazy. Came out in 1915. I want to know why this has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do the critics have to say? What? You motherfuckers lampooned Dave Chappelle, but you gave Birth of a Nation mostly positive reviews.
What do you do if you go and you look at the comments? First, the first person that did a comment was Trump. It was just Trump. I really liked this movie. It was great. I liked how...
Yeah. Now, again, I've never seen this movie. Yeah. It's about the Civil War and the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. But maybe it's filmed and stuff in such a way it's just like, you know, kind of documenting like a World War I movie or something. So maybe it's not necessarily super racist. And obviously these people like it, so I don't know. But I never heard anything positive about it. I thought it was just a KKK movie.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't see how that was... when was the first superhero created? When was Superman made?
The
30s.
30s.
When was the Ubermensch? Was that Nietzsche that came up with the Ubermensch, the Superman? I don't remember. Who Superman was based on.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that might have been... Either way, I don't think Birth of the Nation was the original superhero movie. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Even if they were to pick... I mean, if you're going that genre, or going that way of thinking, I mean, any movies around the same time that had fantastical elements could have been superhero movies of some sort. I don't understand that one. He just seems to... hate white people, I guess.
I think he just likes the sound of his voice when he speaks.
Well, again, it's an Alan Moore interview, and I did not watch it because I think it's just a written interview, so you don't actually watch it. But whenever I've seen Alan Moore interviews, like on YouTube and stuff, there's a way like he might have a smirk on his face when he's saying certain things, or he might be putting a little inflection on certain things, kind of because he's a fucking British dude, right? So he got that little bit of satire in him at the time, so you can't really necessarily tell from the written text if he was serious on all those parts.
True, fair point.
He could have just been playing up the grumpy old man angle, unlike a fuckface Bill Maher, who just is
he's the worst out of them.
I'm not into cancel culture at all, but I wouldn't mind if he got canceled.
Yeah.
Like, at least his show. I don't like his face. I never liked his face. Like, he looks so punchable, but he's just a douche. Even when I agree with him, I'm like, I don't want to agree with him.
Yeah.
The main thing, though, like the main focus, which we keep coming back to, is the whole childhood and not being able to escape that. And again, it depends too, like how much time do you spend in the comic book world, and what do you get out of it? For instance, if you're reading just Archie comics or something, and you know you have a huge collection, but you don't have friends, you don't do anything, you maybe have a job, but that's it, you just work to pay for more comics, then maybe you're pushing a little bit of a problem. But if you're like, you know, most of the people at the book club, they all have jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of them have kids and families, and they do things, they go to baseball games, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So who cares if they fucking like Marvel movies?
I mean, just to give some context to this, as we were recording this, before we go into a book,
I could put the picture on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm recording this in a huge Ninja Turtle hoodie, like the mask kind.
Not just a Ninja Turtle hoodie, and the mask Ninja Turtle hoodie. You came in with the Ninja Turtle fucking beanie or what toboggan.
Yeah.
You came in with the Ninja Turtle T-shirt underneath.
Yeah,
You're turtled out.
Yeah, I am turtled out.
You goddamn child.
Well.
That's the wrong color green, though. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's a very neon-y green.
Yeah, it's not Ninja Turtle green.
Well, if you look at them, a lot of time they give them each turtle a different shade.
Mm-hmm.
Like some's a little brighter, some's a little bit darker. Just kind, I think they help kind of differ them out.
What are you there, Donnie?
No, Mikey.
Mikey, were you orange?
Yeah. That's normally when in these kind of things it's Mikey because everybody likes Mikey.
He likes pizza the most, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to hear what some of you folks have to say on this matter. If you want to send us messages or hit us up on Twitter or something, because then again, by the time this episode publishes, I'm sure the heat already died down because it's Alan Moore.
Yeah.
He doesn't garner much. He would have to say something really extreme for anybody to actually give a shit. Unlike a fucking Bill Maher or even...
I'm surprised I haven't heard anything about him, like, trashing the new Watchmen show.
I don't think he's a fan. I think he was bitching about it, actually.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a fan of the movie either.
Yeah, but I think he was... if I remember correctly, I just read that he was bitching about the direction they went or something.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you think with them talking about the, the black... What wasn't the Black Race Riots? Well, I guess that's what it'd be called when they, bombed Black Wall Street and all that stuff. I think he'd be about that. Not bombing Black Wall Street, but about, like, the subject matter. But I don't think he's one of those guys, like, you can't do anything to his work without him getting shitty.
No matter what. Because, like, the movie, other than the end, was basically...
Watchmen.
Yeah, like, you couldn't get it...
As best you could make it because of the book, and I think he hated it.
Yeah, he fucking hated it. Without even fully watching it, I think, either.
Like, you think just the casting of Rorschach alone would have been enough to make him like it?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a character.
And it's not like they shied away from Blue Dong or anything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. They wouldn't. I'm bringing up the Blue Dong a lot when I'm talking about Alan Moore for some reason.
You didn't bring it up in the episode. You brought it up before the episode.
Okay.
Because you wanted me to call you the Blue Dong for some reason. I don't want to go into that. You folks can check us out on the old Twitter at Drunk Pen Writing. Hit us up on Facebook and Instagram at Drunken Pen Writing. And go to drunkenpenwriting.com for all your needs of fiction, poetry, short stories, fucking articles, whatever we might post. And thank you for listening. You have a fantastic day.
Bye.